Laura is forced to revisit her hometown to remodel a lodge she used to dance at. While spending Christmas with her daughter, Nikki, she runs into her ex-boyfriend, Ricardo, who broke her heart. Laura reminds Nikki to get ready for school since Thanksgiving is long over. Laura works with Pleasant Getaways and asks for the lamps she ordered as the project manager of the Pine Ridge Hotel. She is polite since she understands the holidays can be busy, but the hotel is opening soon, and she makes it clear she needs them. Nikki knows because of an app that they're not late for school. She wants to go somewhere it snows for Christmas. Laura reminds her of Lake Arrowhead, but Nikki doesn't think it's real snow if she doesn't see it falling from the sky. Laura promises to take her somewhere next year. Laura's boss, Oliver, seems stressed because he bought a hotel over the weekend. He made an amazing deal, but have to finish the construction job by Christmas Eve. This is very urgent for Oliver, since Christmas Eve is in 4 weeks. He wants Laura to sort out the mess that could take 8 weeks to fix. Laura recognizes the Enchanted Lodge from her hometown of Rosemont in Utah. She refuses to take over the project and claims it's because she can't leave Nikki on Christmas. Oliver asks her to take Nikki along and thinks it'll be great if she spends Christmas with her dad. Oliver makes it clear they need to finish the job before the Enchanted Christmas show on Christmas Eve. He will have to pay a huge financial penalty if she doesn't do this. Laura's boyfriend and colleague, Scott, doesn't understand why she can't go back to Utah. Laura claims it's partly because her dad, Manuel, was upset when she suddenly left. Scott is sure Manuel understands how tough it was when Laura's husband, Daniel, died. Scott knows they have only been dating for 2 months, so it's best not to discuss complicated family dynamics. Laura admits she used to be in the Enchanted Christmas show as a dancer. She used to love it, but stopped dancing at one point. She doesn't want to take a walk down memory lane. She has worked very hard to feel settled in Los Angeles with Nikki. She doesn't want to ruin things by going back there. Scott feels it might not be so bad and comforts her. Nikki refuses to go with her and claims she can stay back with her friend, Sarah. Nikki is afraid Santa won't find them there, but Laura assures her he's an expert. She also lures Nikki with the promise of snow. Nikki is worried since it's not snowing in the town yet. Laura assures her it will snow way before they get back. Manuel is excited to see them and knows Nikki doesn't remember this house. She was very young when Laura moved to Los Angeles. He is also making a special dish for Nikki, which he usually just makes at Christmas. Nikki wonders why they don't make this dish at home. Manuel claims he tried to teach Laura, but she was always too busy dancing. Nikki had no idea Laura danced, so Manuel brings out some old photos. Nikki asks about Laura's dance partner, Ricardo. Laura has heard he was touring with a dance company and hopes he's far away. Ricardo finishes a set with his dance partner, Taylor, but doesn't think it's fast enough. They browse through his collection of Christmas CDs to find something better. He thanks Taylor for doing this show with him. She had nothing to do anyway, because her earlier tour ended. Ricardo feels excited that his Aunt Claudia asked him to come back for the show. He is happy to be home, because he's always touring around. He has made hotels his home, so Taylor knows something special must have brought him back. They look at an old photo of him and Laura in front of the fountain. Laura has the same photo in her room, with all her dance trophies. Claudia has been very busy with the arrangements for the show. Ricardo asks her to relax, even if she feels overwhelmed about putting on a perfect show for the 75th anniversary. She has to see the ballroom the next day for the show, which is also a mess. She knows La Company has bought the place, and they're claiming to get it ready by Christmas Eve. Ricardo asks her to not worry, because they're doing all this to raise money for the after-school program. She hands him the permission slips from the parents, so Ricardo can begin rehearsals the next day. Laura finds her old friend, Alicia, at the coffee shop. They used to spend every Christmas together in Rosemont for years. Laura explains she's there to remodel the Enchanted Lodge. Alicia thinks it's a funny coincidence, since Laura hasn't been in town for 10 years. Laura hasn't heard from Ricardo since he left for the tour. Alicia is still mad at him for abandoning her, but Laura feels grateful she met Daniel and had Nikki after that. She hopes Ricardo is happy wherever he is, and invites Alicia for Christmas shopping. Laura drives up to the lodge and meets the construction foreman, Edward. Since she's freezing, he assures her the furnace is at the top of his long list. He shows her around and claims the guest rooms are in decent shape. They mostly need furniture and some work in the dining room, lobby, pool deck, and the restaurant. Laura asks about the fountain that used to be there. Edward offers to get a new one, but Laura feels it's not needed. Claudia is worried about how the ballroom will get fixed in time for the show. Ricardo feels whoever is in charge probably has everything under control. Laura recognizes the path to the ballroom. and admits to Edward that she used to dance there. She claims that was a long time ago, and she doesn't dance anymore. Right before they enter the ballroom, Ricardo steps out. They're surprised to see each other and explain why they're there. Ricardo feels it's great she is handling the project. Claudia also remembers Laura and asks about Nikki. Ricardo introduces Taylor as his dance partner, but doesn't let her get too close. He explains that Laura and him used to be dance partners too. He asks about the ballroom to change the topic, so Laura explains she has it under control. Edward is handling most things, and Laura knows the furniture is coming soon. Laura asks Edward to show them the staging area while she makes a call. Ricardo follows Laura out and asks how long she's in town for. She learns he is back on tour in January, so he will be staying till the show too. He comments on the fountain, and Laura claims a lot has changed since then. Alicia thinks it's fate that Ricardo is doing the show Laura is in charge of. Laura informs her that she's dating Scott and thinks Taylor is amazing. She doesn't know if they're dating and doesn't think it's her business. Alicia wonders what will happen if they start remembering the old days. Laura knows it was a bad idea to come back and thinks there's no way they can get back together. Manuel is teaching Nikki how to make decorations when Laura comes home. She is disappointed to learn they didn't do any schoolwork that day. Laura asks Nikki to wait inside so she can scold Manuel. He hasn't seen Nikki in a year and feels he should get some time with her. Laura clarifies she doesn't want Nikki lagging behind in her schoolwork. She asks Manuel to tutor Nikki in the lodge. He knows it's only because she doesn't trust him. Laura discusses the decorations with Edward and thinks they have to find the budget for lights and wreaths. Edward has already found some in the storage and assures that he has her back. Nikki doesn't understand fractions, so Manuel eats 1/4 of a cookie to teach her about it. Laura doesn't approve of his methods and feels they should use books. They hear music from the Christmas show, and Nikki wants to see it. Laura makes an excuse, but Ricardo assures Nikki they can make room for a special guest. He came down to check if the music wasn't too loud and reminds Manuel who he is. Laura introduces Nikki to Ricardo as her old friend. Ricardo asks if Nikki wants a sneak peek and watch all the kids rehearsing. Since Nikki is too excited, Laura agrees to let her go for a few minutes. Nikki wants antlers like the other kids, but Laura points out they're only for dancers. Ricardo offers to let Nikki join the group too, and thinks she could be in the show. Laura claims she has schoolwork, but Ricardo promises they only practice for an hour a few times a week. All the kids have homework too, but Laura refuses to let Nikki join. Laura remembers she also joined as an innocent kid and doesn't want to repeat history. Nikki doesn't care about picking trees for the lodge because she's upset Laura is not letting her dance. Manuel assures Nikki her mother might have a good reason to stop her. Ricardo finds Laura at work and points out how they keep missing each other. Laura claims to be busy, but Ricardo feels bad about overstepping with Nikki. He wants to chat about old times, but Laura feels that's a horrible idea. She reminds him how that went last time, and Ricardo knows she's still upset that he left. He remembers she yelled a lot at him right after they clicked the photo with the fountain. She also threw a Christmas ornament at him because she was angry. Laura claims things have changed, and they're both different people. She doesn't want to bring up the past since she thinks there's no point. She has a lot of work with a lodge, and asks Ricardo to focus on his Christmas show. Nikki can't concentrate on math since she has a lot of questions about Laura. Manuel admits Laura was in the show, and she was very good. He doesn't answer why Laura stopped performing. Nikki feels Santa must love dance because he has a reindeer named Dancer. She claims she loves dancing and really wants to be in the Christmas show. Laura puts on an old video of her dancing with Ricardo and starts smiling. She gets worried when she gets texts from Scott checking up on her. Manuel remembers how important dancing used to be for her. He asks her to consider that little girls need something to look forward to. She knows he's trying to help Nikki and understands that she wants to dance too. Ricardo joins Laura after his class at their favorite spot. Laura remembers how they used to come there before the show to make wishes in that fountain. Ricardo jokes about how they could have made another fountain with the number of pennies they threw in. He wonders about her life because he heard about Daniel from his mom. At that point, he didn't even know she was married and how to contact her. Laura explains that she met Daniel 6 months after Ricardo left. They were in love, so they got married and had Nikki. She discusses how surprised she is that he came back for the Christmas show. Ricardo admits the Christmas they spent in this town was real Christmas, and he missed it. Ricardo is glad Laura wants Nikki to be in the show. He wonders if she wants to dance too. Laura promises to not tell her dad what he offered if he makes sure Nikki loves the show. Laura is confused about Nikki walking out in frustration. Ricardo explains that she's frustrated the other girls are ahead of her, and she's competitive. Manuel asks Nikki the name of the girl who thinks she is better than her. He feels Danielle will keep thinking she's better till Nikki goes back in to prove her wrong. This works on Nikki, because Manuel has already used this tactic on Laura before. Laura is done with Christmas shopping for Nikki and is headed back to the lodge. Ricardo offers to help, and she asks about the finale with Taylor. Ricardo feels it's not as good as when Laura was his partner. He clarifies that Taylor has been his dance partner as a friend for years, and has stayed that way. He asks about her life, so she claims she has Scott. He offers his services if she needs any help with the rest of the lodge. He claims to be a hotel expert. Since he has lived in them for so long, he has realized the biggest problem is that they never have any hangers. He also thinks the soaps are too small. He feels awkward about telling her all this, but she feels he has some good points. He wonders what her Christmas wish would be if they still had the fountain. Laura knows Nikki's happiness is her first priority. After that, she would hope about the lodge getting fixed on time, and that she falls in love again. She is sure his wish would be about hangers and soap, and he gets nervous while admitting it's related to that. She is finally able to talk to Scott, and feels good about hearing from him. Scott has heard that Oliver is not happy with her progress reports, and doesn't think she can meet the deadline. Laura is offended that Oliver approached him instead of her directly. She feels bad, she's working so hard on a budget, and he's still doubting her. Scott offers to talk to him, but Laura thinks it's best if she calls Oliver the next day and updates him. Laura hears Claudia arguing with Taylor, who wants to cancel their grand finale. Taylor has an audition for a new European tour, but Ricardo refuses to go because he has committed to Claudia. Their tickets have sold because of Ricardo, the hometown boy who made it big. Taylor is sure she will get the role. She thinks it's best if she backs out 2 weeks before so they can find a replacement. Claudia wonders how they can find someone good enough to do this, and they all look at Laura. She agrees to replace Taylor only because her boss is already upset, and the show not doing well will reflect badly on the lodge. Ricardo informs her that instead of their usual salsa, they will do a traditional foxtrot. Laura remembers always being bad at that, but Ricardo suggests doing basic moves to see how rusty she is. She fumbles the first few times, but seems to adapt to the flow eventually. While decorating the tree, Laura suddenly remembers sore muscles come with dance practice. Alicia is glad she's doing what she loves again. They remember a Christmas ornament they bought together in the snowstorm. Nikki is skeptical about witnessing any snow there, and Laura is impressed she learned this word. Nikki overheard it from Manuel when he was talking to Ricardo about how Laura would not dance. Laura reminds Manuel he shouldn't talk to Ricardo about her. Manuel has a bad feeling about them dancing together and is concerned about her. Laura clarifies that she's being careful and only dancing with him because of the show. She promises she won't get hurt again. She feels they will have a great family Christmas, after which Ricardo will go back to his tours. When all the kids take a break for cookies, Ricardo asks Nikki what's bothering her. She has been struggling with some steps, so he decides to help her remember it. He asks her about the 3 things she loves the most about Christmas. He helps her visualize presents, cookies, and Santa in her steps to help her remember them. Laura watches how good he is with Nikki, and he continues to demonstrate how she can eat the cookies and get Santa from the chimney. Laura doesn't remember Ricardo as someone who was good with kids. He explains that he has grown up now. He wants Laura to understand that it helps solve a problem if you see it from a different perspective. He feels it's better to get results that way, like he did with Nikki. He also feels Laura is being too hard on herself. He has an idea of how to make her see things differently. He asks her to bring Nikki along. He takes them on a ropeway trolley to show them the view from the town. He also starts practicing more with Laura, who is getting better and back into her earlier groove. Laura comes home late from practice and claims she's still getting used to the new dance style. She assures Manuel that she's working on the lodge during the day and rehearsing in the evenings. He wants her to be present for Christmas too, but she gets a call from Edward. The moving company's van is out of commission, so the furniture can't be delivered till 28th. They need it before Christmas Eve, but the company has refused to cooperate. Laura assures him she will take care of it. Claudia needs more decorations for the room, even if it's outside their budget. Ricardo feels happy as he watches Nikki helping Danielle remember her steps. Ricardo remembers some boxes in the storage. He suggests they can use wrapping paper to make them look like presents. He goes at the back to find them, but gets excited about something else. Laura has figured out a solution. She has spoken to people who will get their truck and crew to the movers, so the furniture can come before Christmas Eve. She thanks Edward for his help and plans to see him at the tree lighting ceremony. She feels bad about missing rehearsal with Ricardo, but he has a surprise for her. Ricardo shows her the fountain he assembled again after finding it under the tarp. He feels they forgot to put it back together, and they remember where they used to take pictures before the show. He also remembers their big fight and claims he did it because he didn't want their last memory to be bad. She wants to know his Christmas wish other than hangers and soap. He admits he wants to settle down somewhere and have someone special. He asks her for a dance before that, and they glide in front of the fountain till Scott finds them. She watches the tree lighting with Scott, but she and Ricardo keep exchanging looks. Scott claims he came to town to see her, but she wonders if it's about work and Oliver being worried. He assures her he's only helping out and doesn't understand why she needs to dance. She claims Ricardo is an old friend, and she wants to help out with the show. Scott feels there might not be an opening night, so she understands he doesn't trust her to pull this off. He claims he doesn't want her to be distracted, but she assures him she can handle everything. She gets back to work and dance practices. Ricardo guides her through the steps, but she wants some changes so it's more comfortable. Scott wonders about the invoices, because Laura has added hangers and soaps in the in-room amenities. Ricardo figures out a way to help her with the steps, and they finally figure it out. Alicia introduces a new drink, but Laura asks her to not add it to her menu. She helps Nikki with more decorations. She cuts a call when Manuel gives her a look about working during family time. She keeps working on the lodge and dozes off right there. Scott has doubts about the colors of the chair, but she feels they're fine. Scott watches Laura and Ricardo rehearsing and feels jealous. He orders tablets instead of desk computers and doesn't listen to what Laura wants. Laura is surprised Nikki is friendly with Danielle, and Manuel feels that's just the Christmas magic. Laura asks Nikki if she wants to add something to Santa's wish list. She has always wanted snow and is still waiting for it. Nikki is worried about Manuel being lonely when they leave Rosemont and asks Laura if they can stay. Laura asks about her friends in Los Angeles, but Nikki feels she will miss Manuel and her friends in Rosemont more. Laura suggests they can try to visit more often, especially when there's real snow. Taylor has got the part in the audition, but only if Ricardo joins her. They have to leave for London on the night of the Christmas show because they have a performance on New Year's Eve. Ricardo doesn't want to leave the show, but Taylor reminds him this is an opportunity they have been dreaming about. They're getting leading roles in a 2-year global tour, and she asks him to consider it. Laura overhears Scott talking to Oliver about how Laura was struggling before he took over. He tries to justify himself to Laura by claiming Oliver won't listen to her. She knows he has been lying to her and doesn't trust him. She thinks if he's genuine, he will call Oliver again and tell him the truth. Edward also comes to her with some plans, and Ricardo wants to discuss something. Laura feels overwhelmed and walks out. After her breakup with Scott, Alicia suggests she should try something with Ricardo. Taylor asks Ricardo to hand over some invoices while he's trying to find Laura. He is not sure if he will catch the plane with her because he needs to talk to Laura first. Taylor informs him she'll be at the airport the next day and hopes he comes too. Ricardo comes to Manuel looking for Laura and asks for advice. He claims he's supposed to make a choice that will end up hurting someone or the other. Manuel reminds Ricardo of senior prom, when he and Laura had been dating for a while. He didn't approve of Ricardo because he was always dreaming about a big future and not appreciating what he had. Manuel remembers Ricardo coming to him with a corsage for Laura. Ricardo told Manuel that he wants to marry Laura one day and always keep her happy. Manuel claims he liked that version of Ricardo and sort of approved of him. Ricardo feels everyone says foolish things when they are young. Manuel feels the choices we make as kids can be forgiven, but he knows the ones made as an adult truly count. Laura finds Taylor while she's looking for Ricardo. She hasn't had the chance to talk to him yet. Taylor informs Laura that she and Ricardo got the job. She doesn't know if Ricardo will take it, but feels if she stays back, it will be because of Laura. She claims it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Ricardo misses Laura's call, so he hears her voicemail next to the fountain. Laura asks Ricardo to take the job, since she doesn't want to get in the way of his dream. She feels he wasn't supposed to stay before, which is why she had Nikki. She thinks he shouldn't stay back now either, and asks him to not worry about the show. She promises to take care of the kids and the grand finale, and claims her Christmas wish was for him to be happy. Ricardo seems confused, and throws a penny in the fountain to make a wish. Edward informs Laura that Ricardo was out in the courtyard looking for her. He informs her he has gone to the airport, so Laura comes out to cry and make her wish in the fountain. Nikki feels it's unfair for her to dance in the show when Laura is not. Laura wants her to know that doing the right thing is always not the easiest. Manuel comes to check on her, and Laura claims it was her decision this time. She feels she needs to get back to Los Angeles at some point, but Manuel thinks a place with friends and family is more of a home. She hugs him and goes to get ready for the show. Laura assures Claudia they can have a different grand finale for the show. The kids can come out for another encore, and their big finish can be with the introduction of Santa. Laura asks Claudia to forgive Ricardo, because he's family and should not have missed such a huge opportunity. Laura goes to receive Oliver, who admires how great the lodge looks. Edward compliments Laura's work, but Scott still insists he helped her. Edward threatens to tell Oliver how much credit Laura deserves if Scott doesn't do the right thing. Scott understands he needs to tell him and approaches Oliver. He finds Laura and compliments her for the great work she has done. Oliver thinks she's a great team leader and already has a new assignment for her. Laura is surprised he's not firing her, but Oliver explains that he fired Scott. Scott finally admitted he wasn't honest with either of them, and Oliver thinks that's great for Laura. She has another different idea for her next assignment and shares it with him. Laura introduces everyone to the Christmas show. She claims the last few weeks have made her realize the importance of family. She promises to keep these doors open for all of them as the new general manager of the Enchanted Lodge. She asks everyone to enjoy the show while Claudia ushers in the carolers. Laura encourages the kids before their performance and appreciates the great job. Laura is about to pick up the mic to tell people that Ricardo is not coming. Nikki wants to dance again, so Laura promises to let her do it next year. She asks about Ricardo, but Laura feels like he might be busy. Nikki asks Ricardo directly, who claims his schedule is clear now. He went to the airport to let Taylor know he can't join her. He claims he doesn't want to chase those big dreams because he has different dreams. He wants to be with Laura and Nikki, and they admit their love for each other. Claudia reminds them of their dance, and they give the crowd a huge grand finale. Ricardo calls them out on Christmas Day, and Nikki finally gets her wish of witnessing the real snow. As Manuel praises him and Nikki enjoys the snow, Ricardo kisses Laura.